Simply speaking, the abnormally narrowing of an arteriole is called microcirculation disturbance. On basis of my observations in the past 11 years, I propose that the most common microcirculation disturbance is caused by hypoxia of endothelium of arterioles. Let me peel the onion layer by layer. First, what is endothelium? The innermost lining of any vessel, including arterioles, consists of a special type of cells aligned neatly shoulder to shoulder, constituting the lining of all vessels. These cells are called endothelial cells. Under hypoxia, most cells, including the endothelial cells, grow in size called edema. Edema is resulted from too many water molecules entering a cell. Under hypoxia, a cell is unable to produce enough energy, which induces high osmotic pressure, which in turn drags the water molecules from outside into the cell. The result is edema, the size of the cell enlarged. I've just told you the endothelium cells constitute the lining of all types of blood vessels. Imagine it. When the innermost located endothelial cells grow in size as a result of edema, they have to bulge up to the center of the vessel, making the vessel partially obstructed, narrowing the diameter, which is exactly microcirculation disturbance in case arteriole is involved. So the question now is, what can make endothelial cells hypoxic? To answer that question, you should know first how endothelial cells get oxygen. Take a look at this diagram. This is an arteriole, this is tissue cells, which are merely representative of numerous tissue cells indeed. This pair are nerve endings. This is a capillary bed, and this is a thoroughfare. By the way, most rigid RBCs without releasing oxygen flow directly to the venule through this thoroughfare. The innermost lining of this arteriole consists of endothelial cells, and all of them are immersed in the fluid called interstitial fluid. As I mentioned, RBCs release oxygen only while they are inside these capillaries. Therefore, even though RBCs pass by the endothelial cells of arterioles every moment, they can't release oxygen directly to the endothelial cells. Now turn to capillary. The released oxygen molecules cross the capillary wall and diffuse to interstitial fluid, from which both tissue cells and the endothelial cells of arterioles acquire the oxygen. Your attention here, the both are competing for oxygen on the same interstitial fluid. Think about it. In case tissue cells consume too much of oxygen, say more than the capacity of the circulation, then the interstitial fluid would be depleted of oxygen. As a result, both the endothelial cells and the tissue cells all fall in hypoxia, which of course causes edema for both. And as explained a minute ago, the edema of endothelial cells results in microcirculation disturbance. And the edema of tissue cells, by growing size to touch the adjacent nerve endings, may induce various symptoms, depending on the specific type of the nerve. Here, we have 2 points that need more discussion. 1. On what circumstances tissue cells consume too much oxygen? In fact, there are many. For example, emotional and psychological trauma, unrelenting physical exhaustion, too much sex, overload of stress, and any other hyperactivity. All these incidents are accompanied by overconsumption of oxygen. Second, on what circumstances oxygen delivery capacity of the blood can keep up with the upsurging oxygen consumption by the tissue cells? The answer is when RBC quality is not good enough, or in other words, when oxygen delivery efficiency of the blood is not good enough, which requires large amount of blood flow to deliver minor amount of oxygen. Consequently, even with the arterioles dilated to their upper limits and the momentary highest blood pressure available to maximize blood flow, the circulation still can't keep up with the upsurging oxygen demand of the tissues. And the result is hypoxia of the endothelial cells of the arterioles, which is exactly microcirculation disturbance. This also explains why those who are less energetic is susceptible to variety of chronic diseases, because they have inferior RBC quality and easy to form microcirculation disturbance. On the contrary, since those who are energetic have good quality RBCs, they seldom fall into microcirculation disturbance. Now, you should realize how important the RBC quality is to health. Recall the 5 factors that decide the oxygen delivery efficiency of the blood. Among them, RBC flexibility is most vulnerable, which can be impaired by lasting stress. So lasting stress plus sudden overload of stress is enough to create microcirculation disturbance. So, is there any solution to microcirculation disturbance? As just explained, microcirculation disturbance is caused by the edema of endothelial cells, which in turn is caused by hypoxia. Therefore, the root cause is hypoxia. So solution is simple, that is to deliver more oxygen to the region in problem. And things evolve the way exactly opposite of the formation of a process of a microcirculation disturbance. So question is how to deliver more oxygen? There are 3 options. 1, the method I call it the OTEC, improving the RBC quality for the purpose of increasing oxygen delivery efficiency of the blood, which means with the amount of blood flow unchanged, more oxygen can be released. Second, utilizing the agent that is able to dilate the blood vessel. For example, ginkgo leaf extract. 3, oxygen inhalation or hyperbaric oxygen chamber treatment. Based on my observations in the past 11 years, the first option and the second option together usually do the work good enough. Importantly, for OTEC here, the serving size of X soft gel, which is responsible for improving RBC flexibility, should be significantly increased. To be specific, 6 times the usual serving size. Okay, I think most of you now believe that hypoxia is widespread, caused either by poor RBC quality or by microcirculation disturbance, permeated in modern life of anyone. This conclusion is very important because in the past, you might not have considered this type of hypoxia as cause for any abnormalities, but now you have to. The existence of hypoxia is, according to my observation, the root cause of many types of diseases, especially in most chronic diseases. such as malaise, most brain diseases, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, pain symptoms, most kidney malfunctions, liver malfunctions, insomnia, etc. The curious part is all these chronic diseases are so far unknown of causes. To these chronic diseases, the present mainstream formalities taken by doctors are, instead of treating the causes, mostly treating the symptoms to temporarily relieve patients of symptoms, because the cause is unknown. In my opinion, that's because clinically hypoxia was widely neglected. What if we first consider hypoxia as a common culprit for them and see if they can be cured by improving oxygen delivery efficiency of the blood? In fact, my observations on ex-soft-gel users in the past 11 years tells exactly hypoxia underlies as the common cause of most chronic diseases, not limited to those I just mentioned. And I embarked on the quest for uncovering the connection between hypoxia and a variety of chronic diseases. So next, I'd like to share my view in light of hypoxia on those chronic diseases. To help more audiences to comprehend with ease, I'd use plain language as much as possible. Now, let's move on to see how hypoxia brings in overall detriment to our body.